Hello everyone. Happy Wednesday. Wow, we've had now 2 Wednesday sessions here in a row. I always like to say happy hump day for those of you who are halfway through that work week. My name is Ivy and I am here on behalf of Wright-Patt Credit Union for our Finances in Focus Live. Today I am really excited as a parent and like many of you, someone who has school-age children and children getting ready to head on their college journey, to welcome with us Dr. Pamela Ellis. She is the education doctor, and we'll give a few minutes to let some folks jump on to share this out. Please share. But today we're going to be talking about back to school stuff. First, we're going to talk a little bit about some tips on how to navigate. Many of you are probably back to school, but navigate the next several months of keeping up with the budget in back to school. And then we're going to talk about something that's really exciting to me, which is just navigating the road to college and really how it's never too early to start. And Dr. Ellis is going to give some tips. So like I said, we'll give a few minutes. I'm actually going to get on myself, see if I can get on here with you and share it out. But please, if you're joining us, share. If you know somebody with children, tag them. If you have children yourself, tune in and just let folks know we're getting ready to talk about a really great topic, back to school, taking care of college. As we do that, did I hit share? I think I did. There we go. So I want to take a second before we get going on the tips I'm going to share. I'm going to talk for a few minutes and share a few tips. Just to introduce you, Dr. Ellis. Dr. Ellis is going to be joining us September 7th for a Road to College event. It's an educational series of seminars Saturday morning, September 7th. It's going to be a great event. We're partnering with Dr. Ellis, Sinclair Community College, their enrichment program, student enrichment program, our credit union student choice program, which is our student loan holder, and our long-term planning department, just to bring a wealth of information around planning for college, paying for college, saving for college, scholarships, and how, as Dr. Ellis is going to tell us, did you know you could get a scholarship as young as 13 years old? I didn't know that and wish I did. So all this wealth of information, including a scholarship calendar, we're going to be sharing at this event September 7th. And so we wanted to take a second to bring you on to just kind of introduce you to our membership audience and to have you share a few preliminary things. So could you tell us a little bit about who you are first?
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Ivy.
Absolutely.
I'm excited to meet all of you on September 7th and certainly excited to talk with you today and bring you some really wonderful tips about just planning through the high school years. To tell a little bit about myself, what I do is I have a firm here in Dayton where I work with schools and families around college readiness. And it's essentially supporting high school students with finding a college that's a great fit for them and partnering with parents to avoid overpaying. And that's something that a lot of families are worried about, is just the expense and the investment of college.
Yes.
And so my background is in higher education and certainly supporting the high school to college transition. And so a lot of what I'll be sharing today will be talking about just how to make the most of high school, because so many times students aren't aware, and sometimes parents aren't sure just how to help them with being able to really navigate those 4 years, because they can be a little bit stressful, to say the least.
I'll say, as a mom myself, I've had children along the span of college and heading, and even as a college graduate myself, I find it has been challenging to know the right direction to take with each of them, just because they're, first of all, each so different. There are so many options and choices out there to pay, to finance, to pick the right school, and then a lot of times you're stuck feeling like, am I going to make the right decision? Right. And then two, how to empower them, because they ultimately have to be the ones to do it. So we're so glad to have you here.
Thank you so much. And that's one of the key things, Ivy, that you just touched on. It's the team that owns the process. And so even as parents, we want to help, but we can't do it for them. they're the ones that will be going away to college, and so our job is to prepare them and help them with being successful, but not to do it for them or to own that process.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Definitely.
Before we jump into college, we're going to talk for just a few minutes about what we all as parents, anybody that's a parent out there, are dealing with in this immediate moment.
Yes.
Whether you've sent your child back to school in the last week or sending them in the next few days. In Ohio, at least, in the main membership area we serve, most of our students have or are headed back to school within the next couple days. And boy, when it comes to back to school on a budget, that sounds like something that for some feels impossible in many cases. So I wanted to take a few minutes just to share with our listeners just some tips to help you navigate back to school on a budget. So I'm getting ready to give you all my top 5 back to school on a budget tips. I will share this with you generically. I'm a mom of 5. Okay, so these are not just tips I'm giving you as a certified financial counselor. These are things we're practicing in our home to try to just make it from year to year, okay? So let me give you my first tip. First tip, and like I said, if you're tuning in, say hello, let us know you're here, share. We want to get the word out to as many parents and grandparents and teachers and students out there. So my first tip on getting back to school on a budget, both now and throughout the school year. If you can, even if you haven't done it yet, while things are on sale, purchase multi-packs. And then look at the cost per item. A lot of times, a lot of stores are putting on sales, but if you look at the per item cost of something, you can see if it's really a deal. So for example, if it's a 24 pack of pencils for $2.40, that's a 10-cent pencil. If it's a 24 pack of pencils for $4.80, that's a 20-cent pencil, right? And so when we think about the world of being asked to send in 55,000 pencils for one child for one school year, but really we know we're usually helping the whole classroom out, you want to look at the per cost. And if you can buy larger multi-packs, do so. That's for 2 reasons. One, what I just mentioned, many times classrooms are challenged with having enough supplies to support all children. And we know how it feels to not have what you need to do your job. And while it can be costly to take care of your own children, making sure our children have what they need in the classroom is huge. The other reason is any moms and dads out there can resonate with this one. Somewhere around December or January, magically, every pencil you've purchased, every folder you've bought has either been broken, used down, or lost. And you're going to have to replenish at some point. So if you can take advantage of the sales while they're happening because it's peak back to school season, purchase a little bit more now. The worst thing that can happen is you won't use them in December, January, and you'll have them to kickstart next school year. You've got a good 12 years of school with your kids, and I'll venture to say longer than that because then they're heading to college. They still need pencils and pens in college. So buy the multi-pack. My next tip would be to budget for and start saving for school purchases ahead of time. So I know school has already started, and so some people may say, well, there is no ahead of time. Throughout the school year, there are going to be school fees that come up. There are going to be school dances that come up. Again, there's going to be that wonderful replenish request that happens. There are going to be activities at the school end of the year. There are school yearbooks. There are fundraisers that everyone's child comes home with to participate in. There are expenses ongoing that having a running pot of money that you can pull from, I don't even call it necessarily savings, it's planned expense. You know it's going to happen at some point, it just may not be happening today. So having that budget for school expenses year round also can help keep your budget from being busted when something does pop up, because we may not know the exact week that it's happening, but there's going to be a request for something that costs money. In addition, you can start to budget and save now for next year or for the spring expenses that you have. And that's both if you have school age kids all the way through college age. I know, we have already started, this semester's taken care of. We're already talking about what does next semester's needs look like? What does next school year's needs look like? So that we can start planning ahead. Did you guys know you can actually open up secondary savings accounts, meaning in addition to the accounts you have already, your general one, you can open up additional savings accounts. You can open up club accounts, which is accounts that you open and you can have for 6 months, 12 months, I think as short as 3 months, even up to 18 months where the money's locked in, you can't touch it without penalty to help you save. You can even open up a secondary checking account. So you could even have a separate account that's a checking, a spending account that's for the purpose of your children or school age things. So that's my second tip, to have that for future expenses as well as the ongoing expenses. Again, in this black and white world where it has to be all or nothing, even small amounts can add up, to help the long run. I always tell people, even with student loans, if you can save $300 to $500 to help with books, that can save you from getting a student loan that could cost you $2,500 with interest. Even if you can't pay for school completely, even if you can save for books, that's helpful. So start a savings account for ongoing expenses. The other thing we would give is when it comes to meals, okay, these are my 3 Ps. Plan, pack, and prioritize, okay? Plan what the meals are going to look like, both for lunches and dinners for your children and your family. So that's twofold, right? There's the school lunches. Are you going to have, is your child going to eat lunch at school? What types of food will they be wanting to select when they're eating? If they're going to not eat lunch with the school meal, are they packing? What should a healthy lunch look like? That's not, that's not busting your budget that way. If they are eligible to take advantage of any school reduced lunch program costs, take advantage of it, fill the paperwork out. Packing is a great way to know what's going into your children's stomachs. There's been a lot of changes to make lunches healthier these days, but still by packing you can see what's going in your child's lunch, encourage them to take part in packing, it gives them a role in it. And then finally, prioritize your grocery list based on the needs you have, not only for lunches but for dinners. So in the world of school, we're busy, and it can be hard to maintain breakfast, maintain lunch, maintain dinner without maybe going out to grab a meal. But if we plan, pack, and prioritize, it helps us to make sure that we're making our grocery list in a way that's feasible and financially friendly.
And one thing, Ivy, I want to just jump in briefly and say about the meal planning and having dinner. Prioritizing it is so important in a number of ways. The research around academic performance has shown that having dinner together is one of the key indicators and support for doing successfully in school.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
That's something, we have a lot of sports athletes in our household, and that's one thing that's a challenge for us, but that we really try to commit to. So it's good to hear that, because that's, even if it's just a few times a week, we try to make sure there's that couple times where we're all at the table together. Right. And we may be, last night we were going over Spanish as part of it, but doing it together,
Absolutely.
That's good. Thank you for sharing that. That's huge. Third tip, or third, use your resources. Okay, free is possible. I know that everything around this time of year feels like it's just cost. There's fees for this, fees for that, but free is possible. There are so many programs connected to schools and clubs. The libraries in our communities are phenomenal. They are phenomenal. And they're not your traditional libraries anymore. It's not just to go get a book. There are media centers in libraries. Children can go and record videos and make magic and all kinds of experiences in the library for free. You can rent videos for free. You can rent movies for free. So all kind of things. Lean on your friends and family. Lean on one another. How can you work together as a community resource? Whether that's catching rides with one another, or again, sharing the information and resources that you have. Fourth one, have and stick to your household goals. I know that sending your children to school in the newest, coolest, hottest brings a feel-good feeling. But if it takes you away from your household goals, don't do it. You want to make sure that you all are keeping the household goals in mind. And on that note, have some household goals. So for example, as it relates to academics, you may be talking to your children now about grade point averages and activities that they're participating in, the role that those kind of things are going to play and the opportunities they're going to have to save money on college or save more money on future opportunities. So even those kind of goals, right, would be important.
It's important for students in every school year at the beginning of the year, especially for high schoolers, to set goals for the year. And sometimes they may be around GPA, sometimes it may be around how they want to be involved in the school year, whether it's joining a club or two. So goals are really important, and it really gives students a sense of accomplishment and keeps them on track as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's one of our the focuses. Set some goals, as an
Yeah.
individual student, and then as a household, set some household goals. And then again, make sure that the goals you've set for the household, your spending aligns with the goals that you have. And if it doesn't match up with the goals that you have for your household, let's talk about some ways we can shift and compromise that. Because again, I've always been big on first day of school, they need everything they need, but sometimes if that comes at the cost of the other things that you need to take care of, you want to reevaluate that and what's important for the big picture.
And the thing about it too is, kids still model their parents, even when they're in high school and they want to feel like they're doing it all themselves, they're still modeling their parents. And if they see you having goals at home, then it encourages them and motivates them and gives them an example of how they can do it for school.
Yes. So my final goal that I'm going to share, and then I'm going to actually have a question for you, but is start early planning for college. And what is early? Early is subjective. Early could be for some of you planners in the world as early as you are talking about having a child. Now you can't open an account for a child until they have a social security number, but not an account in their name or on their behalf. But you can start saving as early as any time. It's never too early, and it's also never too late if you have not started planning, but start early planning for college. Start early thinking about your savings and payment options for college. There are several ways to save and pay for college. And then also, again, the way that your student can be teeing themselves up for the best possible situation. And so on that note, I am going to I wanted to ask Dr. Ellis to just share what students and families can be doing kind of at different stages of the game to prepare for college and to start to work toward that success that you talked about.
Absolutely. And I'm going to share it grade by grade because oftentimes we think that, we should start doing it in junior or senior year, that's the time to start planning for college, but you're absolutely right. It does take place much earlier, and there's things that students can do, in 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th grade that can support their success. I'll start overall with just piggybacking on what you mentioned earlier, Ivy, when you said that you can start, applying for scholarships as early as age 13. And one of the things that my team and I are working on now is we're putting together a list of all the scholarships that are available for 9th graders. There are actually a lot of scholarships out there for 9th graders, and so you don't have to wait until senior year to start getting scholarships and earning scholarships towards the college expenses. But I want to start with just talking about 9th grade and some specific things that parents who have 9th graders should know. The first thing with 9th grade is it's such a big transition year with so many things new teachers, new courses, in some cases new friends, a much larger school in many cases. And I want to give 2 really important tips. One is 9th graders should find their community. And what I mean by that is finding who else, in the building is going to support their success. Whether it's teachers, it could be a staff person that works in the cafeteria. Maybe it's a mental health counselor that's on staff who can be supportive. The administration, other teachers, not other teachers, but other peers who will be supportive. But just making sure that they find their community, because it can be really challenging at times to get through 9th grade, and they want to make sure that they know others who will support them when they get those bumps in the road and courses get tough. And the second tip for 9th graders is to schedule out for 4 years. And I know that may sound like a lot of work to do, but oftentimes 9th graders may, only plan their courses for that year, or maybe they only look ahead to 10th grade. I would encourage them to look ahead for all 4 years. So what is your course schedule going to look like in senior year? So having that on your radar, because that can actually play a role in terms of your college options. And so just knowing that ahead can really make a difference. For 10th grade, 10th grade is a unique kind of year. And there are actually a lot of schools around the country now doing a lot of programming specifically for 10th graders, because it can be a tough year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're not the new kid on the block anymore, and you're not necessarily fully in the college admissions process just yet. So it's just kind of an awkward year in a lot of ways. And one of the first tips I would share for 10th graders is don't compare. Don't compare yourself to others. It's easy to feel like you're alone or isolated. Other kids are doing so much better, and they all are, you know, popular. They have more friends. They're, you know, more athletic. They're smarter, whatever. But don't worry about that, because, you know, during, you know, 10th grade, sometimes it can feel a little isolating and lonely. But it's important for you to not be so conscious of others that you miss out on things that are great about you. And so for 10th grade, you really just want to do you. And one of the other tips that I have for 10th graders is, you know, investigating what your interests are. You know, that's a way to, you know, not necessarily focus on other people, but thinking about yourself and just investigating what your interests are. So maybe you're thinking that you want to do something in public service, and you can actually participate in a, you know, a riding program like with the police force, or, you know, checking out, you know, what firemen do. If that's something you're interested in, perhaps taking a personality assessment. That could be a way to help you start to think about, well, what careers would even fit with me? And doing some type of interest inventory in that regard. One of my students was interested in veterinary medicine, and he actually volunteered at the local vet's office, and that ended up turning into a paid internship for him. So he was getting paid to go there a few hours every week. And, you know, he was around 10th grade when they offered it as a paid opportunity, and he was able to then get some really good experience. And, you know, he was there to hold the animals when they did injections or other medical procedures. Just a great learning opportunity, and really helped him with thinking about what things he wanted to do even after high school and later on. And so
I'd say that's probably hugely important. I have so many friends who thought about it while they were in college.
Yes.
And that became costly.
It can be. It can be.
I was a student who thought I wanted to do one thing. You know, I had the whole when I grow up vision.
Yes.
And it completely changed. And thankfully, the coursework still shifted to where I still finished school in a timely manner. But I decided that when I wanted to grow up, what the vision looked like was going to be different my sophomore year in college, not high school, by experience. But if I think back, there's some experiences I could have had earlier on that would have likely directed me away from what I was thinking initially, i.e. I wanted to be a doctor who didn't like to see blood. I'm not going to work for you. You know, so that's a really good point to start that early on, really just investigating those and hands-on.
Right, exactly, absolutely. So I'll move on to 11th grade. 11th grade can be a really stressful year in so many ways, because the courses are more challenging, and there's a lot of heightened attention on what are you going to do after graduation, whether it's doing a career directly after graduation, or deciding to go to college, whether you do the 2-year to 4-year route, or whether or not you go directly to a 4-year. So there's a lot of pressure in junior year. And, you know, the first tip that I would suggest is one that you probably aren't going to hear anywhere else, but I would say to get a mental edge in junior year. And what I mean by that is, you know, really finding what it is that keeps you calm. What is it that really helps you with just being strong mentally and your mindset. And so it could be, for me, you know, it's music. that's one of the things. I have a theme song that I play when I'm getting ready to go into a tough situation or a speaking engagement. And so that's something that gives me a mental edge. Taking some quiet time during the day and just having those moments where I'm just being mindful. And so getting that mental edge is going to be really important to get you through those anxious times and those moments when you're just feeling so overstressed in junior year. Because especially if you're starting to take advanced placement classes or, you know, starting to do any accelerated courses, they're going to really hit you in junior year.
Okay.
And so getting that mental edge is important. Another tip, and I may have 3 for junior year because that one is so critical. Researching and visiting campuses in junior year is really important. It's not so much a worry when you're in 9th and 10th grade, but certainly in junior year, getting to know the colleges, if that's on your path for after high school. A lot of times students may shortchange themselves and they just look at the pictures online, or they know a brand name of a college and just said, okay, that's where I'm going to apply. It's really to your disadvantage to do it that way. To get, you know, the advantage, you want to research and know your why for that college. Okay. And that's where it really gets into, you know, finding those colleges that are going to be a good fit for you. Because it may sound great on paper, but you go and visit or you find out, you know, what they really offer as majors. Because if you look at that course guide and you're thinking about X major and those courses bore you, then that's probably not a good fit for you. Right. So finding that out in junior year and taking the time to go and visit a campus. And I say that to parents because yes, I know that can be, you know, a little bit of an expense, but you can do a driving trip. So if your teen is interested in going to a college within a 5-hour radius, I mean, there are a lot of great colleges, you know, in state as well as even in some of the border states. So definitely keep that in mind. And then the third one, knowing your numbers, and knowing your numbers in terms of your GPA, knowing your numbers in terms of your hours with certain activities, also knowing your test scores. That's really going to give you a sense of confidence and a sense of where you stand. You want to know where you stand before you get into senior year.
So speaking of numbers and test scores and those kind of things, I know a lot, and I don't know if it's statewide, but the schools are doing like the ACT for free for juniors.
Yeah.
As far as preparing for your ACT and starting to take that, when should students start taking, or I know there's a practice one, but when should they start actually taking the test?
In junior year.
In junior year?
Yes, yes.
Okay, the actual
test, yes. Taking it earlier, I mean, you can take a practice test. I wouldn't take an official test earlier. There's no rush, and you'll get all of the content you need by then. And so taking it in junior year is perfectly fine. I would say plan to take it twice. I mean, hopefully you only take it once and you don't need it, but giving giving yourself time for twice. And so you can take it in the fall, and then you can take the free one, you know, in the springtime with the school. So something like that. But I'm really not, I really don't think it should be something that's overstressed where kids are just taking it 5 and 6 times. And I don't recommend, you know, also then taking the SAT just to see. I mean, you don't really have time just to see.
Right. Or
there's a lot of money and time spent. Yes.
Well, and it's really, they kind of, I mean, they're both tests, but they kind of take 2 different approaches. So
they are different.
Even trying to study for 2 different styles of tests can be stressful. So
it is stressful, and it just really works you up unnecessarily. And you already have so many other things that you're doing. I mean, teens today are just busy.
Yes.
You know, I feel like I have to make an appointment with my own kids to spend time with them. They're just so busy. And so really just being intentional around, you know, this whole process and what you're doing, intentional around being successful in school and making the most of high school. So you don't need to start taking it early.
Extra stuff.
No, not at all.
That brings us to 12th grade.
12th grade, I know, right? And if there are any parents out there who have a senior, you may feel like you're going through it right now. And let me just say, yes, it can be stressful, but it doesn't have to be overly stressful. One is, if your teen is writing application essays, which is something that's very time consuming and stressful for high school seniors, just let them know the key thing is that they're telling a story about themselves. And it's not about trying to write what you think someone else wants to hear, or writing something that your friends have said is good to write about. Just tell the story of you. Tell the story of you. And that's going to be your most successful application in terms of the essay that you write for admissions. And then also, even if you're writing any scholarship essays, a lot of scholarships may require essays. And so tell your story. Don't be afraid to tell your story, and tell it in your voice in an authentic way. And that's what helps you with getting in and also getting money for college.
And I can kind of testify to that on two levels. Both for myself, I was applying for a master's program, and I can remember the anxiety of the reality of what I was getting ready to embark on it. And it was because I had children that I was trying to navigate. And that became the story that I told as part of both going to college with a child, and then how that kind of gave me the strength and mental edge, as you will, to feel like I was ready to attack the master's program. That, I think, was kind of the authenticity in that is what gave me my edge. Likewise, one of our students in our household was shifting over to a career tech school, and the program required an essay even to get into the focus that he wanted. At the time that he was requested to get in, this program was full, and he actually was denied at first. But I really believe, because he wrote a heartfelt letter on why he wanted to be in that program and what his goals were, I believe that attributed to him getting that phone. We ended up getting a call a few weeks before school that, hey, actually we do have space. And then through his senior year, there were many times where just that authenticity came through, and we would get calls from teachers and everything. And, just in a world, especially with social media and so many things pulling at not only students but people, but especially students, so many things pulling at them, trying to tell them who to be and what school and how to be. That's such a great tip when it comes to how they present themselves on these scholarships.
Because at the end of the day, you're going to get into the place that's meant for you. You're going to, get the opportunities that are meant for you. There's nothing that you're going to lose out on. And I'm a firm believer of that, and I've seen that, over the years in a number of cases. The final thing for seniors is to enjoy senior year. And there are so many different experiences that you're going to have through the fall, and experiences with things like getting your headshots, or going to final parties or celebrations. But enjoy every moment of senior year. In the springtime, you don't want to over enjoy it, because oftentimes senioritis is going to kick in no matter how hard you worked or how little you worked. Senioritis always kicks in. But still keeping in mind to enjoy senior year and being grateful, showing gratitude to your teachers and others at school is only going to elevate that.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Well, man, you've got my mind is going in so many different directions, and obviously our lives are to help you guys have your lunch and chat over about a 30-minute period. So we're not going to be able to cover the whole journey and every single tip to go to college. But thankfully, we are going to have a couple of events coming up
Yes.
that are going to allow us to continue to do that. And one is, if you didn't hear us at the beginning of the session, we actually have an event coming up with Dr. Ellis and the Sinclair Community College Enrichment Program Department, our Student Choice Loan Department, our Long-Term Savings and Planning Department here at the Credit Union. It's our Road to College Navigation event. It's a seminar basically, but we're kind of like a mini conference because you're going to have an opportunity to actually hear from Dr. Ellis in greater detail. We're going to have an opportunity to have some facilitated panels by the guests that I mentioned a few moments ago, and they're going to be talking about paying for college, saving for college, those 4 years and what you could be doing each year. Dr. Ellis is going to have a chance to dive a little deeper with that. Scholarships. You heard Dr. Ellis say you can start applying for scholarships as early as 13. That is mind-blowing to me, but it's true. We actually are going to be giving everybody that attends that event a calendar that notes just some of those scholarships that you know, all grades are eligible. Every single month there's scholarships on there. So if you're available that Saturday, September 7th, you're in the Dayton, Beaver Creek, Miami Valley area, it's going to be at our corporate office across from Soy Medical Center out by the Fairfield Mall. Many of our events are free. This one is, and some are going to be $10 per family. So when you register your whole family, and it is $10. That's actually a contribution to our Sunshine Fund.
Yes.
100% of that goes to our Sunshine Fund. So we're not. This isn't a money maker for the credit union for Dr. Ellis or anything like that. This is something we do actually, quite candidly, to help understand what our numbers look like, to make sure that people that sign up are actually committed to attend. So that $10 goes to our charitable fund that we donate to local organizations year round. But that $10 gets you Dr. Ellis in deeper dive. It gets you the panel sessions from our partners. It gets you an entry into our door prize. We're going to be giving away gift cards. We're going to be giving away a couple of Dr. Ellis's books, which I forgot. I meant to bring it down. Right? Dr. Ellis has a book. It's called What to Know Before They Go.
Yes.
I said
college edition. Yes.
The college edition. It is a book on this stuff, guys. So we're going to be giving a few of those away. And then again, we're going to have that opportunity to have that one-on-one time where I'm the Q&A panel with those facilitators who are all versed in different aspects of getting you from I'm thinking about it, I'm planning on it, to actually help your teen or your younger than teen plan for success as they go forward. So if you can join us September 7th, 9 o'clock, 9 to 12. Don't come at 10. You can come at 10. We're starting at 9, though. We'll be out here at the corporate office. Come a little bit early. We'll have a little light, refreshments for you, some granola bars and some orange juice, coffee for the parents to wake you up, just to get us going. But join us on that day. If you have questions in the meantime, we're actually going to be doing that. And then as we go into 2020, we're going to have some other opportunities to visit in the member centers and ask some questions. But please feel free to chime in, even on this post, to ask questions. We will put the link in the post on where to register for the Road to College event. We'll put that in the post. Just visit our website, and you can go right out to register from there. But I want to thank you.
Thank you.
Like I said, you got my mind. I'm taking notes myself. You've got my mind going. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for those of you that have jumped on today. Again, if you have questions, we're here for you. Wright-Patt Credit Union is excited. I was talking to somebody the other day, actually, and it's really cool that you guys are hosting something like that. And I said, well, we offer student loans. We offer savings accounts. We offer checking accounts. We offer student type accounts. We offer first-time user credit cards. All this stuff, right? It would not be doing our community any justice if we didn't pair that with the education to make sure that people are accessing it the right way. And so as a credit union who's committed to helping make the process of life easier, that's what we're here for, right? So we're excited about how we can not only provide the tools from a product standpoint, but actually the knowledge, and then to be able to pair with experts like yourself to do it. We're just honored to do that. So thank you for partnering with us.
I'm honored to be part of it. So thank you, Ivy.
Well, have a good rest of your day, everybody. Share. Somebody needs to hear this that couldn't jump on live. Have a good one.
Thank you.